Mark Denholm.
I'm on the radio.
The music just turns me on.
Atom Radio.
Hello, episode 77 of the Atom Radio Drivetime podcast. This is Mark Denholm from Drivetime, Monday to Friday, 3 until 7 on atomradio.co.uk, on TuneIn, on iTunes Radio, and on your smart speaker. And this is where we share the best bits, if ever there are any, of this week's show. Loads to cram in this week. We've got a tourist attraction that's not really a tourist attraction. You know those moments in life when you laugh and you really shouldn't, but you can't help it? Some of those. Making yourself an intentional meme before you even have a choice in the matter. How to get your own back. Rants on a Thursday. Dating in 2020. Names lost in translation. And fake friends as well. All of that and more on the podcast. Make sure you settle back. Make sure you enjoy it at the end. If you like it, subscribe on iTunes, on Google, or on Spotify.
Atom Radio. Ooh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Cheers for sticking us on. You got Mark Denholm here in the Atom Radio studio in Slough, playing the music you want to hear. Brain teaser in 40 minutes time. Where are you going if you're in the UK? Like, you know, maybe you were clever and you thought, no, I'm not booking last week off work because it's half term. I'm going to book this week off. If you are in Derbyshire, you can go to somewhere which now has its own TripAdvisor recommendation. A hole in the wall outside a bank has surpassed beautiful nature reserves and historical churches on the list of the town's top tourist attractions. The so-called NatWest Hole has surged into fourth place behind the Earwash Museum, Straws Bridge and Victoria Park. The NatWest Hole is actually exactly what it sounds like, a circular hole in the wall outside the bank's branch in Derbyshire. So if you are stuck for something to do, go there. I'm now waiting for Instagram to be full of, like, you know, hashtag TripAdvisor, hashtag NatWest Hole.
Mark Denholm.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
I believe in a thing called love. Is that still even relevant in the modern world with Tinder, Bumble and stuff like that? Although Tinder, I've said this before, haven't I? Tinder has been ruined. Tinder used to be for hookups, didn't it? But now you've got people on there not looking for hookups, looking for true love. Go back to Match.com then, for heaven's sake.
Drive Time with Mark Denholm.
There is a line in that I think could become a motto. I did say it earlier. If you don't respect yourself, ain't nobody gonna give a good cahoot. It's true. If you have no respect for yourself, why would anybody else? Bruce Willis on Tuesday's Drive Time.
Mark Denholm with Drive Time.
Tuesday's Drive Time, and do you know what? Like, I shouldn't. You know, sometimes things happen, don't they? Like, people fall over and stuff, and you can't help but laugh at them. You know, like when that happens, and you're like, looking away, hoping that nobody has noticed that you are absolutely creasing when someone has fallen over. You know, or someone like attempts to go up a down escalator and you're like, oh no, can't laugh, don't laugh, they're looking. Well, I shouldn't laugh at this. A lady called Danielle is 22. She is 3'11" in height. She has an average torso length, but her legs and arms are significantly shorter than the average person. Danielle has got the absolute hump. She has achondroplasia. I hope I got that right, by the way. She has that, which is a form of dwarfism where cartilage doesn't change to bone, and this stunts people's growth. So Danielle is 3'11". She is getting very, very annoyed because when she goes out, drunk people feel the need to lift her up. Do you know what? That would pee me off, if I'm honest. Like, if I was out, I'd get pretty peeved. Like, if people just kept lifting me up every time they got drunk, I would be pretty annoyed with that.
Drive Time with Mark Denholm.
You know, I told you the story earlier that I shouldn't laugh about. How about this? A stripper has shattered his leg after grabbing onto a fireman's pole, which fell on the ground and knocked a 75-year-old woman out cold. Dream Boys dancer Lewis Riches is 32, is beginning to get the crowd hot under the collar as he performed for Your Eyes Only before the absolute disaster which ended up in an old granny being knocked out as well. Oh no, how could you not laugh at that?
Mark Denholm with Drive Time.
I'm thinking actually I must be an evil man because like earlier on I laughed at the poor lady who's 3'11", who got lifted up every time she goes out and people get drunk, and I laughed at that. And then the old dear, 75-year-old dear, I mean, what was she doing at a strip show anyway, at the age of 75? Got knocked out when the stripper's pole fell over. I'm an evil person, aren't I?
Yeah!
Mark Denham.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
This baby I told you I'd tell you about, a newborn baby, has become an instant meme. You know, like when you are a proud new parent and your baby is brand new to the world, just born, and you take that first photo, don't you, of them, like, you know, like before they're dressed around like that, before they're cleaned, you get your first photo of your baby. Well, this baby born in Mexico has absolutely stared out the doctor who's there in the delivery room. This baby is proper staring at the doctor, frowning and everything. And even the mother has said, like, this is going to be an absolute meme. Like, when you look at other photos of the baby, she's a cute little baby girl, but in this one, she is full of anger. Clearly just wasn't ready to be born yet at all. This photo has already been shared at least 500 times, and I reckon it'll be shared thousands and thousands of times. I want to know, like, when you've taken your brand newborn photo, have you ever seen anything that looks like a fully alert baby? And this baby is only tiny, obviously, it's newborn, but it looks like with a proper adult frown expression on it.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
I was in Slough this morning, all right? And a very rude man, I held the door. I was going to hold the door open. I was in the process of holding the door open. And this man has literally just barged through. And then he turns to me and says, "Where's the toilets?" And the toilets were literally about 10 feet away from him. I said to him, those ones up there are out of order. You have to go all the way back down to the next shopping centre, to the Queensmere, and go in there instead. I thought, do you know what? Like, you're going to be that rude with the door and that, I'm just going to inconvenience you. Which is a little harsh, you know, like, you know, you could tell he was busting for the loo. But there's no excuse for rudeness, though, is there? So hopefully he made it to the other ones instead. But maybe a little bit of me hopes not.
Mark Denham.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
It's 3:30. It is Thursday. Cheers for sticking us on. You got Mark until 7. How about this from the news today? A furious mum was questioned by police following a row with her daughter's school over a pair of trousers. The mum went to Merrill Academy to complain after her 11-year-old daughter was sent home because teachers say her trousers bought from Asda looked like leggings. Then the police arrived, saying that she had been accused of aggressive and threatening behaviour. The mum does admit that she swears when she spoke to the teachers. She has now decided to pull her 11-year-old daughter out the school, not her 15-year-old daughter out the school. Definitely not the 15-year-old daughter, because she has started GCSEs. This makes me think, though, right, and this is a real bugbear of mine. I'm sat here now, I've got a hoodie on, jeans and trainers, got a t-shirt on as well, right? And I am sat here doing my job. Would I be doing my job any better if I was sat here in a suit and tie? Probably not, because I'd be less comfortable, and that would then be annoying. But why is so much importance placed on uniforms and things like that? I honestly don't get it. Like, you know, as long as the child is not dressed offensively, the child is there to learn, not to compete in some fashion show. So let her be. Same with when you go to work. Why is it expected that you wear a shirt and tie? Why can't you just wear, like, say, trousers and a polo shirt? Still smart. I don't get all this. Somebody explain it to me. Please explain this to me. I need to know why this is so.
Atom Radio. Drive Time with Mark Denholm.
Spoke about this girl who's been sent home from school because her trousers, bought as trousers from Asda, were labelled by the school to be too much like leggings, right? And then I got onto uniforms and that. I want to know, what job do you do? And do you have to dress specifically for your job? I don't mean, like, you know, if you work in, say, a shop or something, I understand that you may have to wear a uniform, all right, so you can be identified as staff. But if you work in an office, why is it still in 2020 the case that you have to wear a suit? Why? I mean, what difference does it really make? And then the one that really gets me, right, my son is 4 years old, okay? 5 in July. He started nursery last year and had to wear a tie to nursery. He has to wear a tie to reception. I mean, come on, he was 3 when he started. What is this all about? I think, we're in 2020, not in the Victorian era. Ditch this old-fashioned codswallop.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
It's Thursday's Drive Time, online at atomradio.co.uk, streaming live from Slough. I emphasise the word live. Why am I saying that? Well, I did say I was going to bring a rant of mine to the table, and that rant is all about television. All right, there's been a lot of talk of recent, hasn't there, over the BBC and the licence fee. The government here in the UK plan possibly to replace the licence fee with a subscription-based model. All right, now the BBC isn't full of adverts, so you don't have to wait for ages and ages for your programme to start for adverts. Don't even get me started on the cinema on that. But right, the BBC is licence payer funded. ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, all the satellite TV channels are all funded by they're funded by adverts. Then you get onto the satellite ones and the cable ones, which are funded by adverts and subscriptions. All right. Now, my issue here is the number of repeats, because, when you look at Sky, they advertise however many channels, etc., etc. If you've got Virgin Media like I have, it will show you first aired on, and you can see the number of repeats that you are sitting through watching. And I'm thinking, in radio, we could not get away with this, could we? I mean, imagine if I just couldn't be bothered to do this and then just thought, well, do you know what? We'll just repeat last Thursday's Drive Time. Nobody will ever notice. Can't get away with it in radio, can you? So why do we get away with it in television? Why? I know people say, oh, imagine back to the old days when you had BBC One, BBC Two and ITV. But there were probably less repeats then on BBC One, BBC Two and ITV, because TV channels weren't desperate to fill so many channels with so much stuff. I mean, there are channels, for example, like Gold that just show repeats of old shows. Challenge just shows repeats of old quiz shows and stuff like that. How have these channels come about? If they're not producing anything, they're not adding any value, how have they come about? And why are we paying to watch them in terms of, subscriptions to Sky and to Virgin and stuff like that? You cannot possibly get away with all of this on radio. It really bugs me, because in television, you go through the schedule and you will find repeat. On radio, that just doesn't happen, does it? It doesn't happen. Why can television get away with this and radio cannot?
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
Dating. If you meet someone in 2020, a lot of dating now takes place online, doesn't it? Plenty of Fish, Match, Tinder, Bumble, places like that, all right? And you message each other, etc., etc., etc. But if you meet someone the traditional way, how do you exchange digits in 2020? I mean, I'm guessing you just give someone your number, they type it in their phone, ring you, and they say, you've got mine. Done. David Beckham revealed yesterday that he still has the train ticket stub that Victoria used to write down her phone number for him back in 1997, eh? That's how dating was done then. You grabbed a fag packet or something, or a train ticket, and you wrote your number down on that. That's how it was done then. If you are meeting someone in 2020, the what I would now call old-fashioned traditional way, how do you exchange numbers with them?
Atom Radio. Drive Time with Mark Denholm.
Atom Radio's Thursday Drive Time. I was talking about dating and that, and how it was done the old-fashioned way before it became online and everything like that. I'm just thinking, think back even further than 1997 when David and Victoria met and exchanged numbers. Think back to before mobiles, when you had to exchange the house phone number. Then you could only phone someone at home and they had to be in, otherwise you missed them. Even think back before answer machines. What a nightmare it must have been to get together then.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
Online around the world, playing the music you want to hear. Brain teaser question is on the way for you for Thursday. I want to tell you this story, though, about dating. I was saying in the last hour about how David Beckham and Victoria Beckham, she gave him her number on a train ticket. And that's how it used to be. And I was just saying about how it's different. Well, Laura from Leeds has found herself banned from Twitter. She believes that she is banned because other users have reported her as they thought her profile was fake. The HR administrator has received an influx of messages asking if she was a catfish. Now, I have to say, Laura from Leeds, I'm just looking at this and there are pictures of Laura from Leeds I honestly would swipe no on you, I'm afraid to say, Laura than Leeds. She claims, though, that she was possibly banned from Tinder for being too fabulous. Well, yeah, I mean, each to their own, right? We all have our own definition of what we would call fabulous. Sadly, Laura from Leeds is not it for me. She said, I thought I'd try online dating to see if I could find someone to date, as my friends have been on there before and had been successful. When I joined, I had a mixture of filter and unfiltered pictures. I had so many messages saying I was a fake profile, didn't think anything of it. But the more messages I got, I started to get quite annoyed by this. I mean, I don't know. She then shared a picture that says that your account has been banned for activity that violates our terms of use. I don't know. She certainly wouldn't be a yes for me. Sorry, Laura from Leeds, nothing personal. I probably wouldn't be a yes for you as well. And then we're even.
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
Alexander O'Neill, fake. Can you imagine if we were to just call out fakes in everyday life now? Everyone's got them, haven't they? People who say they're friends who turn out fake. Imagine calling them out on Facebook. Hey, you're a fake. Do you know what? It'd be fun, wouldn't it? In 2020, if you're on Facebook, write the word fake and then tag everyone who's a fake friend. Lumineers and hey ho, hot chocolate, you sexy thing. Probably don't do that. It's not really being kind, is it?
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
But the amount of money invested in Formula One around the world is it's huge, isn't it? The sad thing about Formula One, a lot of people love the engine noise, don't they? As the Formula One cars speed down the straights and that. They love the flat-out noise of that engine. Imagine in years to come when that becomes electric, when you go to a Formula One race, you're just going to as the motors buzz past. It's not going to be quite the same, is it? Electrification will ruin the sport.
Mark Denham.
AtomRadio.co.uk.
Tomorrow is Leap Year Day. Obviously, this is February, the day that has Valentine's Day in it. A couple of weeks ago, Friday, the 14th of February, the day where, it's all about celebrating love. One single man had an outrageous plan to get himself a date for Valentine's Day. Bored of online dating, he paid £400 for a billboard, set up his own website, paid £400 for a billboard, and then stuck this up in Manchester, his advert. He says that he has since had more than 2,000 applications, including one from Maya Yama as well. I bet that's a fake, if I'm honest. But yeah, 2,000 applications on this website that he set up, datingmark.co.uk. I don't know if he's got a date or not. Maybe I should visit the website and find out if there's an update. I'm not looking for a date with him, but maybe I should find out if there is an update.
Mark Denham with Drivetime.
Coronavirus thing. All right. I don't want to get into the details of coronavirus and that. But we're being told, that there's more and more risk of it becoming a pandemic. And obviously, if you are believed that you may possibly have it, if you've come back from a country that's infected with it or etc., you may possibly have it. You're told to self-isolate for 2 weeks. And this got me thinking, right, I don't think that I've got coronavirus. I have no reason to believe that I have. But if I was told to self-isolate for 2 weeks, what do I have for that 2 weeks? I don't have enough food in the house for 2 weeks. I don't have enough milk, let's say, in the house. I probably haven't got enough tea bags in the house. Certainly haven't got enough cigarettes in the house. So then what do? You have to online shop. But then you just have to say to the person, drop it on the doorstep and go 3 meters away before I open the door. It's horrible, this, isn't it?
Drive Time with Mark Denham.
Mark with you as we head into the weekend, and thank heaven for that. I want to talk about names just very, very quickly, names that don't translate well into English. I was thinking about Storm Jorge, and that's just unfortunate, isn't it? Jorge. Obviously, if you are Spanish, I believe it's a Spanish name, but Jorge. It just, to me, it just sounds silly. Jorge. But then I was thinking, Hermione. How is that ever Hermione? It's like Hermy-one, isn't it? If you spell it out, it's Hermy-one rather than Hermione. I don't get that. But then what other names don't translate very well from whatever language they are into English? I mean, there's the Indian Cricket Stadium, the Wankaday Stadium, which I can't say without a chuckle. But then the one that really cracked me up was, I do remember seeing this shared on Facebook, And it was an Uber driver. You know, like when you get the Uber app, I've never used them, but when you get them, it does say the name of your taxi driver is on the way. And this one said, Jesus is coming, which I'm sure is very good if you're off for a Sunday service at church. But it's probably not Jesus, though, is it? It's probably Jesus. And you know, like, obviously we've had the man-sized tissues and the Yorkie, it's not for girls, etc., etc. So we're in like a gender-neutral world and that now. Does that mean that if your name is Mandy now, for example, which is short for Amanda, does that mean if you are called Mandy, you have to change it now to Person D?
Atom Radio. Drive Time with Mark Denholm.
If you were listening yesterday, I played Alexander O'Neill and Fake, and I said that you should post a status on your Facebook just saying Fake and then tag your fake friends, mention them and tag them. All right, and thinking about it, that is quite harsh, really, to be fair. It is pretty harsh. So what I thought as an alternative to this now, what I thought that you could do instead is you could post on your Facebook, and maybe you should do this now, define our friendship as either fake or true in just one word answer. Comment below. All right, so if you stick that up, it'll be interesting to see if anybody does actually stick up fake, because then you'd be like, why? But I think that you could do, because then you're not calling out anyone as fake, though, are you? Or letting them call out the friendship themselves. So stick it up on your Facebook. Try it. Let me know how you get on. Define our friendship as true or fake. One word answer. Comment below. Stick that up on your Facebook and see how you get on. I would love to know. Maybe we'll check back in on this on Monday and see how we actually do.
Drive Time with Mark Denholm.
A troop of baboons have escaped from a medical facility in Sydney. I shouldn't really laugh about this. Police in New South Wales say the animals have been going bananas. Ah, yeah, very good. In the suburb of Camperdown on Tuesday, social media footage shows 3 baboons running past vehicles and shocked onlookers. The Royal Prince Alfred Hospital later confirmed to local media the animals had escaped, an animal telling the paper they were used for medical studies, including research into diet and exercise. So there you go. They're probably bored of what they've been given to eat. They're off to go and find like McDonald's or KFC or something, aren't they? At the same time as undertaking some exercise. I don't know. What would you think though if you were like just driving down? Can you imagine driving down the A40 on a Friday night and a baboon overtakes your car?
AtomRadio.co.uk.
So sorry I'm late home, dear. I was overtaken by a baboon on the way, which caused a traffic jam. I reckon, like, there's no way, absolutely no way on God's earth you could get away with that, could you? Explaining that. Those are your best bits. I am wondering, actually, on Monday, I think we should look at this fake friendship thing and see whether anything did get made of that or not. Because maybe Thursday's idea of just posting fake and then tagging everyone on Facebook, that might be a little bit harsh. But at least if you do Friday's idea, then you pass the blame on to them as well, don't you? And my Thursday rants, I apologise for my anger on Thursday. Don't know what was going on. iTunes, Google or Spotify. You can subscribe to the podcast on any of those. You can check it out again on the Atom Radio social media next week. Atom Radio UK on Facebook, at UK Atom Radio on Twitter. All you got to do now, tell your friends as well, either to check out the podcast every week or even better, check out the podcast and listen to the show Monday to Friday, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. UK time on atomradio.co.uk, on TuneIn, on iTunes Radio and on your smart speaker. Thank you very much indeed for checking out this podcast. Enjoy the rest of your weekend if you're listening at the weekend. Enjoy your week if you're listening in the week. Check it out Monday to Friday, live 3 until 7 on atomradio.co.uk. Thumbs up to you.
Atom Radio. Ooh, yeah. Playing the music you want to hear.
Mark Denholm.
Atom